How are you guys doing? Good. Did you see it's panel discussion with Sam Dantzler and some of his friends up here. So we're going to have a good time today. We've got some going through some of the best practices, and I want to introduce the panel and tell you guys thank you very much. There's nothing in it for these guys other than a thank you. They've been corresponding with me on some of the topics that we're going to talk about, and I'll kind of map out how that looks for you. But sitting up here today, I really appreciate taking time out to do this with me, so thank you very much for that. Let's tell you who's on the panel, and I'm on a mobile mic because I'm going to be rounding. I'm going all around you guys looking for questions. I'll lay that out for you in 1 second, but I've got Lauren from Woodard Marine, and it's Lake Bomoseen, Vermont. Did I get it right? I'm close.
Hall of Fame baseball manager Casey Stengel once said,
"Where's that
more
coming?
games are lost than won."
Is that coming from your YouTube stream?
Which seems like kind of an odd comment, because wouldn't you think that number would be equal?
Hang on.
But his point was, more often in a sporting event, the winner is decided.
Okay. It's about how today's going to go. With 1 point, Lauren, correct? We got one location. Jerry, I've got Jerry from Action Water Sports with 2 locations, correct? 3 locations, my bad, just coming out of a 20 club. And then I've got Anthony from Singleton Marine Group, also having SMG Wake. You'll notice the shirt that I'm wearing, right? We'll get into that. It's a good gig. And multiple locations. Where are they, Anthony? Wow, okay. We'll get that. I'm going to answer for them. They're in Texas and they're in Georgia. We have no passport on the microphone. Awesome. We'll get you a cord for your microphone. So the idea was to have representation from different sizes of dealerships. That was the whole intent. So no matter what size of a dealership you are sitting in the crowd, to have some sort of representation of what we're going to talk about here. How really did this happen? Seriously, that's incredible. Okay, let's jump right in. I want to give you a lesson from the auto world. Before we do, there are about 4 to 5 major topics that we're going to talk about, right? We're going to talk about marketing versus sales, which is culturally why are you in the parts and accessories arena. Then we're going to talk about how to get into the product, right? So how do you buy it? How do you turn your inventory? Some direct marketing to get people into your door. That's going to be the second major bullet point. Then we're going to talk about how you actually sell this stuff when they're in there. That's 3. Merchandising it and displaying it to get attraction towards it. That'll be number 4. And then there's a bucket that I have called All Other, which is number 5, because they've got some great ideas that you've probably never heard of before, and I kind of lump those into the All Other bucket. So what I'd like to do is intro the bucket, if you will, have them each speak to it, and then run around with some questions that you guys may have, and then we'll go to the next bucket. That's the gist of it. Good by you? All right, automotive world. Anybody here from the auto side of the fence? Okay, a few of you. And Jerry brought this to my attention when he sent an email back to me that the car industry focused on selling cars, and they really never focused on the parts and accessories world, and it came back to bite them very heavily because what they realized was they were just processing transactions. There was no loyalty. There were no customers for life. Nobody was hanging with them for the long haul. They were simply selling a car, looking for the next opportunity to sell a car. Because the car was where the money was, parts and accessories weren't where the money was. So they just ignored it and focused on where the money was. And I think there are some people probably in this room that are of the same mindset with parts and accessories. But it kind of bit them because they're constantly having to go out and look for more people. Now in a world where 90+% of us need a car to go from point A to point B, you could probably get away with that. But in the world of marine, where depending on the boats you carry, it's about a 1 to 5% of the country play in that space. I don't know that you can just focus on constantly trying to source new people. So they added with the addition of the service center and the importance of the service center, you've probably all heard that sales sells the first vehicle and the service department sells the second and the third. That loyalty that comes as a result of that, you can really tie in the parts and accessories to that, because if you're the place for the parts and accessories, then ultimately you then become the place for the service work and hopefully the next boat. I do have business cards up front, and with all my sessions, if you want this PowerPoint presentation, send me an email. I'll send it back to you, so you don't have to scribble furiously, okay? My question to you is always, do you want a transaction or do you want a customer for life? What are you looking for? Are you worried about the profitability of that tow rope, or are you looking for a customer for life? Right? And that's really kind of tease up what we're going to be talking about today. That'll lead us into our first bullet point here, our first bucket, which is marketing versus sales. Do you look at accessories as, well, it's not profitable, I'm not running 35, 40% margin on it, so I don't want to play in that world. The online guys have got it, they've got it handled. I can't even compete with those guys. Or do you maybe look at it as a marketing tool? And Jerry, with that, I'm going to let you start off with it. Ultimately, we're trying to expedite touches to get the guy to buy another boat, and there's a lot of selling of emotion on that one. So I'm going to let you take it from here, Jerry, if your mic works.
All right, we on here? Hello, hello, hello.
Can we turn that mic up? Try again, Jerry.
Hello, hello.
Keep going.
Hello, 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 hello. Hear me? Hello, hello, hello.
There you
Test,
go.
test, test.
Go for it.
All right. Anyway, I don't know where we exactly want to go with this, but I think the proper way to look at accessories, and I'm sure there's different opinions in the room, but we believe the accessory business is a tool to get people in our door. And I think, unless we're selling to commercial fishermen and, people like that where it's a need more than a want. In reality, very few of our customers ever wear their boat out, and I think what sells the next boat is emotion. And so what can we do to get those people in our door over and over and over? And I think in the auto world what happened was everybody was going to CarQuest and everywhere else to get their parts, and they weren't building relationships with the dealer they bought their car from. And Sam, in a lot of his training, always talks about bucket one, bucket one, bucket one. And you look at the Harley guys. I mean, how many people are nuts about Harley gear and everything that goes with their bike? And most of our customers that boat, it's their bucket one. It's their passion. It's their love. It's their escape. And why have them go to West Marine when they could visit our store? And how many times they come in for a new life jacket or something, or a new anchor, and they see a new boat they didn't know existed, and the next thing you know, they're shopping for a new boat. And I think that is one of our bigger pictures, besides trying to make parts and accessories a profit center. It's, can we use it as a tool to get people in our door, drag them through the fiberglass, and start the next transaction or another touch, as Sam talks about it. 20 touches to the next sale. How many times can we get them in the store, and versus the next time they think they might want their next boat? So,
let me tee up a comment on the out of the power sport world, and then Lauren, Anthony, if you want to chime in on the backside of this too. When we talk about another touch, what Jerry's alluding to is your bucket one, which is your passion. Whatever your bucket one is, if you look at your behaviors inside your bucket one, they're frequently very different than your behaviors in other arenas of your life. You probably are very fiscally responsible in other arenas of your life, but in your bucket one, in your passion, whether it's fishing or it's guns or it's whatever your thing is, you're probably very illogical and very irrational. So can we expedite the touches to get you to the next product? And what we know about the power sport industry and the marine industry, they're almost identical. The price point is very different, but as far as the emotion involved in the transaction and how frequently we purchase another vehicle, in the power sport industry, it's 20 touches, and it is almost identical. I've been told it's 22 touches in the marine industry. In other words, I walked into your dealership, that's a touch. You followed up with me, that's a touch. I took the boat for a test ride, that's a touch. When I get to 22, I'm ready to buy a boat or a motorcycle. Can we expedite the touches? In the power sports industry, we treat the tire business this way. Because if you think about who rides or who needs a new tire in the motorcycle industry, it's the guy that's riding, not the guy that bought the bike and threw it in the garage, not Anthony. It's the guy that's actually riding the damn thing. He's burning out the tire. He's using up his brakes. He needs a new brake pad. He needs new chains. He needs all the other stuff that goes with it. So if we can be the loss leader in tires and use tires as a marketing tool to get the people in the door, we're expediting the touches along the way to get him closer to 20 touches to get him to purchase his next vehicle, right? Lauren, Anthony, your thoughts on that? Either one.
I mean, I think it's fun. It's also, we sell fun is what we sell. And the more we can use accessories around our stores, it just makes your store look better. And it's all about fun. I mean, each time, Sam makes fun of me about parking Harleys in the garage and not using them, but how many people have been to a Harley store? There's a heck of a lot more accessories inside the store than there is motorcycles. And every time you go in there, you buy something. And that's just more relationships that you got with the guy there at the Harley Davidson store. And to make our store kind of model after that, it works. I mean, no matter if you go in to get a screw that's missing, you wind up walking out with another piece of chrome that you don't know what you're going to do with it. But it correlates the same way with what we do with accessories and wake shops and things like that, because it's all about fun.
So it's a bit of a cultural shift as far as how you view accessories. Lauren, do you have thoughts on that or no?
I think they probably covered it.
Okay. Questions on this concept here? Just the idea of treating the accessories world as marketing as opposed to its own little profit center, although it can also be its own profit center. No? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Bulk buying, turns, and getting customers in the door. Just a couple of quick bullet points there. Utilizing a DMS for inventory reports. Lauren, I know you're keen on that one. Watching the turns and inventory levels by vendor to see which one's more profitable than the other. Using buying show discounts and dating programs. And then ultimately direct marketing to cause the people to come into the door. Lauren, I'll start with you on this one, if you would, with the DMS and inventory reports.
Okay, so what we do for just making sure that we're ordering the right parts and accessories for our store is at the end of every year, I have made a report before I go into our buying shows, so the Land & Sea shows, the Kellogg shows, Surf Expo shows. And the report, it's very simple. It is what we have in inventory minus what we sold for the year equals the product, the physical quantity that I need to order for the next year. If I want to buy 100% of my product for the following year at a discount at the shows. So for instance, if it was a life jacket, it doesn't mean I need to order 20 of the same exact part number, but I know that I need to order 20 vests if I want to do the same sales as I did the year before. If you want to grow your sales, you can buy more than 20 vests. But I know before going into our Land & Sea buying show exactly how many life jackets I need to order, and we do it across all of our departments. So it'll be oils, filters, pro shop, cleaning supplies, every supply that we sell. And then going into the buying show, it just gives us bigger buying power because we know our total quantity, we know our dollar volume, and we're able to negotiate bigger discounts at those shows and also do a dating order. So while we're there, we're taking advantage of dating orders, so you're not going to have to pay for those products until the following year, but you get them delivered right away into your showroom. You can sell them, turn them right away, and you're not paying for them for 6 to 8 months until the following year. So that's kind of our concept, is just make sure that we're not overbuying, overspending, and that the products are right, like Jerry said, for what our market is.
Questions on how she's running that report? Perfectly explained is what that means, Lauren. Perfectly explained. And then turning of your inventory levels by vendors, and you're using buying show discounts and dating programs as well. You want to chime in on that before I turn it to Jerry on the direct marketing?
Yeah, so again, just making sure that when you go into your buying shows, just look at what the discounts are. Some of them are if you spend $0 to $5,000 on this particular product, we give you 10%. If you go to $20,000, we give you 20%. And also just look in the area. We do a lot of research online to see what's popular in Amazon, what's popular in Dick's Sporting Goods, what are they going to be selling this year, what are they going to be selling next year. So we're just really making sure we're aware of the market and trying to get the biggest discount so we can compete with the big stores.
All right, Jerry, as far as driving the people in, you're as far as I know, you are the king of direct marketing. You want to kind of lead into how you're doing that?
Wow, that's a lot to live up to right there. We do a lot of our direct marketing with direct mail, so that's probably the number one method that we use. Trying to build a database and then continue to communicate with those people. On top of that, it's just e-news, e-blasts periodically. Trying to think all the other methods we use right now.
What are you hitting them with? Like, what's on the flyer? What's on the newsletter? What do you?
Yes, we try to hit every category, is basically. So we try to hit upgrade parts for a boat. Like maybe we see underwater lights as something that's new and a lot of people are adding. So let's put a promotion on underwater lights. Then we'll do like another service like. I'm trying to think here some of the different things, but basically cover the full spectrum of all the different areas that we cover. Try to pick one or two products from each area, and and it seems to get people thinking about it and drives them in the door, especially when they're in for service or something else. Drawing a blank here, but
It's okay.
yeah, so it's just basically direct mail. Use your database the best you can, and then stay in contact with them several times a year just to let them know, the products and services you offer. I think it's easy to take for granted that everybody knows we have these things, and we know we have them. But typically, what happens is you might need something for your house, and there's a place that's been advertising for the last year. You never even notice it because you didn't need that for your house. Well, all of a sudden you have a need, oh, my water heater broke. Well, you didn't see the ad for the local plumber, but now all of a sudden your water heater's broke and you see the ad and it stands out to you. Well, it's the same thing in the boating world. It's like, you see somebody with underwater lights out on the lake one night and you go, man, that's cool. Next thing, that ad comes out and you go, oh, that's what these are right there underwater. I can have them added to my boat. So I think a lot of times we think, well, we told people one time 2 years ago that we offer underwater lights, so we got that one covered. Well, no, you don't. So it's continually reminding people, at least quarterly, all the services, all the different add-ons and upgrades and accessories that you have that you offer seasonally. A lot of times they can vary because people need things at different times of the year more than others. So we'll run different promotions in the spring than we do in the fall for those reasons.
Now, to get the people in the database, and the reason I say you're the king of the marketing side of this is because of your philosophy that everything is marketing. In your world, staying out in front of everybody is marketing.
Exactly. We're the big picture is we're trying to build loyalty, and I think that's what all of us sitting in the room want to do. We want loyal customers that come to us over and over and over. They refer all their friends and all their coworkers, and that's how we're going to sustain ourselves and grow. Well, we look at accessories and all that as a marketing tool. What can we do to get them in the door over and over? We don't want them at Dick's. We don't want them at West Marine, and all those places. We want them in our stores, and it's going to translate into more revenue, whether it's one area or another. It's revenue we all need for running the businesses and paying our staffs and everything else. So,
how you get the list to then direct market to, right? How you feed that database. You're actually running two different kinds of CRMs, correct?
Yeah.
You want to elaborate a little bit on that piece?
Trying to think here. Well, basically, you're always building your CRM. So there's never, anybody you come in contact with should be added to your CRM at any time. So whether you're at a boat show and you're collecting leads, or you're, a couple of ways we do it, and it's going to vary a little bit by county in your market, but you can go on a lot of the different county maps now and go to. I'm drawing a blank again. Is it GIS? That's what it is, GIS mapping. And what you can do is you can pick out the lakes that are prominent or you have a lot of customers on, and go parcel by parcel and download the addresses, and it will usually give you not only their local address, but it'll also give you their address if they're, let's say, seasonal residents and they live in another state other times of the year. And then what you can do is communicate with those people directly and say, hey, we offer in and out service, we offer dockside service, we offer, whatever type of services you guys offer or want to expand on. And a lot of times those people, they may have lived there 20 years, they don't know you exist yet because they've got a relationship with somebody else, but maybe that somebody else isn't fulfilling their needs. So that has been one of our really good tools in the last several years. Is since it used to be you'd have to go down to the local township or the county and sit there for hours writing these things down. Now you can go right online, and we'll hire college kids. Sometimes they'll do it for us in their dorm and say, hey, keep track of your hours, and let's start building these databases on people that we're looking for the 2%ers. Who are the people that are most likely to do business with us? And I think so often it's easy to you take out an ad in the local shopper or the local whatever radio station, and 98% of the people that are hearing those or seeing that marketing isn't our customer. They aren't ever going to buy a boat or accessory no matter what we do. So some things like GIS mapping, you can go right down and target the people that are most likely to spend money in your store.
So correct me if I'm wrong, you're using GIS mapping, and you just do an internet search on GIS mapping and you can get to that site?
No, so what you're going to do is go to your county. So like, for instance, in one of the counties in our state, Ottawa County, so you go to ottawacounty.org, and then on their site, typically it will be like somewhere on there it'll say parcel information or something like, I don't know how it's described again, but you first click on that, and then from there it'll go GIS mapping, and then the GIS map will pop up, and it'll literally look like a Google map, but it'll show every parcel and every property line in the county. And you click on it, and it'll show all the information about the who owns it, if it's in a trust, if, like, say, the boat in your market and they live in Texas in the winter or whatever. So you can get those addresses, and then typically it'll get forwarded to because that's where their taxes get forwarded to in the wintertime. So just go to your county website, and typically in most counties, we have a few counties that are behind the game, and you can't do a GIS search, but I would say 90% of the counties we've found, now you can get that information.
That's very cool. The only reason I know that he does this is because we did a project together with Cobalt, and I went to your store, and you have this little hub, and you have these guys working in the hub, and they're just drilling down on the maps to figure out who's the demographic that they're going after and they're targeting, and they have a database for that's who the direct marketing goes to. Once, correct me if I'm wrong, once the guy comes in and buys something, anything, he moves over to your other database, your CRM, as an active
Correct.
Correct. Customer, which then they're following up with on a regular basis. You know, I always ask frontline employees, what did you do today to cause a sale to happen? Not what did you, more importantly, what did you do to cause somebody to come in the store? Not what did you do once they came in the store. What did you do to cause them to come into the store? And you sit here and you think about underwater lights, and if that's the hot item in your store, if it were in your store, I'd ask your staff, so the cool thing is underwater lights, and they'd say yes, and I'd say, how many outbound proactive calls have you made about an underwater light? And guess what the answer is every time? Zero. It's zero. We've responded to people who've asked us about lights, but how many times have we caused a sale because we're reaching out to the customer to let them know or remind them, hey man, we got these really cool underwater lights in. I'm just amazed by how many people stand around and react to the door swings as opposed to causing the door swing. At the point where I'm sitting at home and I find out about underwater lights, it's probably because I saw an ad for Dick's or one of the sporting goods stores or something along the right, Marine Max or whatever it is that's. At that point, then I just need to order the product. As opposed to coming in to hang out with you guys and all of a sudden, wow, have you seen the new blank underwater lights? Check them out, causing those sales to happen. Right, it's interesting because we have, in the motorcycle industry, we have a website out there called RevZilla, RevZilla.com. Anybody in this room ever been to RevZilla.com? Motorcycle enthusiasts? What are you riding? Yamaha V-Starts, Yamaha Cruiser, okay? So when you go to RevZilla.com and you're looking to buy a product, it's basically an accessory, as parts and accessories department for anything in the motorcycle industry, right? Anything you would want is on there. Who else is on there? Who's on there? Not what's on there, but who's on there? You remember his name? But you know who I'm talking about. Hey, this is Anthony from RevZilla, where you try, ride, and then decide. It's the same guy, very charismatic. He's in all of his videos, and there's a product video display on every single product there. So you're interested in the new Dionysi jacket. Here comes Mike wearing a size 42. You can see it runs a little short, so order the next size down. He goes on and on and on and on. There's product knowledge, there are videos, there are 360, there's all kinds of stuff. And as a motorcycle enthusiast, it's a cool place to shop. It's cool. But you know what you have that RevZilla will never have? What any online store can't offer is you, the people, and the relationship that I preach so hard in all of my training. I can't get this with anything that's online. I can't get that through an ad that comes through the local newspaper. I can't get it. I can only get it from you. So you wonder why people would knowingly and willingly pay more for something to come into your store. Well, let me just ask, quick show of hands, how many of you have knowingly and willingly paid more for something because you like the person or the place where you bought it? Just real quick, look around the room. Don't think you can't play in the accessories department just because you can't be the cheapest. It's not about being the cheapest. It's about being the place to go and having the product, and to your point, you're staying out in front of them. Anthony, before I move on to the next bucket, did you have any comments on this one right here?
Well, the direct marketing piece of it, I mean, for years we've been using demo days to get people to come in and demo our boats, but there's another way you can do it with your wake shop parts and accessory demo days. So, the customers used to getting that invite to come to, demo a boat over and over again, and they kind of know that, they feel like they're going to get beat up to try to buy a boat. But it's a little more disarming if you have them come in and also partner with your vendors that you use, like Liquid Force can come in and do a product demo day, and it's amazing the amount of people that will show up for that compared to a normal demo day. They're disarmed, and next thing you know, you're selling boats off of it. So also use your parts and accessories to market your boats in a different way off-site with events.
Very cool. I live in Denver, Colorado. There's a dealership out there. There's a #1 dealership in the country for heated gear that plugs into your battery so you can ride around and heated gear on. Guess what they do? They demo all their products and invite everybody in to try it out all the time. Be that place. Okay, questions on this bucket before we move past it? Anything on the direct marketing and how to buy and using your vendors, that kind of thing, run the reports, any of that? Yeah, I'm going to have you speak in the mic.
When you're doing purchasing, where do you determine between best price and being loyal to a vendor?
That's a good question. So pretty much you're just wondering, do you choose the better price or are you in love with your vendor? This is a good question. My husband purchases all of our Pro Shop stuff, and this was actually a conversation that we had this fall. Was he tends to get sucked in by the vendors that he falls in love with all of them, and we get to the point where we have too many of them. And this year I told him to stick his heels in the ground and stick to the one vendor that's the really good one. But we just had an open conversation with all of our vendors. So we told them, this is our situation. We love you, but it's not always the best price or the best product for us. Is there something that we're missing in the market? So we kind of have an open dialogue between the vendors. We don't keep them separate from each other. They know that we're talking to the other vendor, and really just see who not only has the best price, but who has the best product for our market or for who we're trying to target. Does that kind of answer your question? Okay.
Good question. Any others? Okay. Sam. You guys get, right up front.
With what frequency do you reach out in this direct marketing? How often do you send a mailer or an advertisement and try to draw those sales?
The one that specializes in doing accessories, that we do that one quarterly, but we reach out with direct mail, monthly for something. Usually it's other areas, but quarterly we do a quarterly newsletter, and it talks about different accessories, and it'll have everything in that. It'll talk about boat, maybe a couple new boat models that just came out, but for sure quarterly.
Couple questions. Hang on. Let me get to you 1 second.
Are you doing direct mail, postal service, or just email, or both?
I was just going to fill in some of Jerry's blanks. I'm part of his corporation. One of the other things that we do, we have a new model boat that was recently received at our stores, and our people were anxious to try it before the ice comes to our area. So we took quick little videos of our staff going out and testing these new boats in their dry suits. Just a quick little thing that we put on Facebook and did some little tweets also on Twitter. And then during the winter, when it's really cold and we'll get a big shipment in of, we'll get a semi-truck dropping off a couple pallets of new product, they'll often put something about that on Facebook again and Twitter just to keep people reminded. You know, we've got some new stuff in. Come look at this cool new stuff, and that's another touch. And that often drives people in because they want to come and they want to really talk to us face to face on, you know, what did we think about the new boat? How did it do this? How did it do that? And that's just another quick little fun touch.
The brains behind the operation right there. Any others on this one? No? Okay. Let's go to the next bucket, if you will. Put the milk in the back. I think we're all used to that concept. Passing through parts and accessories in the pro shop to get around the dealership, service and engine parts counter possibly in the pro shop, and service writers in the pro shop. Maybe something you've not thought about is changing the geography of your store layout. If you guys want to chime in on that, Lauren, where is your? You said you're utilizing the pro shop, right?
Yeah, so what we do is when you enter our store, you're entering through our pro shop. We make our store very distinct. So we wear bright green, lime green all summer long so people can see us. And our pro shop is painted the same color, so it's very obvious when you walk into that area. But that is the area you have to walk through and to get to the service counter or the checkout counter for parts or for accessories. But what Sam's referring to is that our waiting area for our service counter is not in front of the service counter. It's back between the pro shop and the accessories area. With our catalogs, with our accessory pricing in it, and any of our flyers, so that they have to sit there and absorb the fun. That's the fun area. People are not always happy to come to the service department. Hopefully they are, but not all 100% of the time. But they're really happy to go look at that really fun wakeboard or the stereo that's playing that sounds really cool, or the little kids that are running around. We have our cute little dog, as I say. We put a little life jacket on her every day. That's one of the doggy jackets, and she runs around the store and greets the customers. But they're away from the service counter, but being absorbed in the culture, as they said last night. But the fun part of it, the fun aspect.
Very cool. Jerry, I know your accessories are all around the inside of your building. You can't look without seeing your stuff.
Yeah, we're sort of in the, I mean, we believe the same mindset. You can't get in store without seeing something that you could buy, whether it's service or we have two entrances at our locations, but both of them lead you to everything. And sometimes it depends on your, you know, your brick and mortar building, how you're going to lay things out, or sometimes you can't even have your service in your sales area. But if at all possible, I think you need to have, if somebody comes in for service, they can't not get their whatever spark plugs without seeing other accessories, or they can't see new boats, because I think that's the touch to get to that next boat sale, whether new or used. But yeah, we try to put all of our pro shop stuff not in one corner of the store, but we put it on the walls all the way around. So that way it's like, well, I came in for a rope. Let's see, those are over there, so I got to walk past 4 boats to get to that rope. And then, oh, that's right, I forgot, you know, I need a new throwable cushion, so now I got to go back over there. And I don't think you feel like it's inconvenient, but it makes people see fiberglass to get other things, you know, that they may have came in to buy.
Anthony.
We found out by accident. We had a wiring problem in our service department, so we had to temporarily move our service advisor inside our wake shop. Well, that week our wake shop went up about 25%. So we're in the middle of redoing the desks and putting our service advisors' desks inside of our wake shop. So it's like, oh, how'd that happen? But it's amazing when they walk in to drop their boat off or pick their boat up. Oh, I need a saddle float, or I need this. Oh, wow, that's a cool tube. And it's right in front of them, where, you know, in the past our service writer's office has always been in the back corner with a window or a wall that not very well decorated. But when you put it inside the wake shop, they become impulse buys is what they become. Same thing when you go to a cash register at the store, all the stuff they have sitting around, oh, I need one of those or whatever. So we stumbled onto it and are in the middle of putting the desk in there.
Very cool. Harley-Davidson World, they've got a new acronym called PALS, P-A-L-S, Parts and Accessories Liaison to Service. Right? Only Harley could come up with that. PALS, Parts, Accessories, Liaison to Service. They moved the service writer's desk to the Parts and Accessories counter in several major stores around the country for that very reason right there. That if I'm getting my, if I'm there for my first service, all of a sudden you're surrounded with all this cool stuff. You're like, well, as long as it's on the lift, let's go ahead and do that. Let's do this over here. And so it just drives the sales. So questions about that concept, about maybe shuffling around the design of your store? I think you get the idea behind it. Okay, let's jump to the next one here, which is actually selling the product. Displays, traffic magnets, embracing all boating lifestyles, and pretty cool matching the boats to the products, or matching the products you have. And then ultimately not worrying so much about the guy cheap selling them, because there's map prices that are going on. Jerry, I'll start with you again, just on the putting the floats out front, just putting the tubes out front to get excitement around it.
Yeah, one thing we discovered is no matter if you own a personal watercraft, a fishing boat, a cruiser, a ski boat, everybody seems to love tubes. And so one method we've done is inflate, 4, 5, 6 tubes and put them out front by traffic. And your tube sales will shoot, up dramatically. And your traffic will even increase. They're like, oh, they got tubes over there. And I'll pull in. And so if you're showing if you have tubes in stock now and you never inflated them, your tube sales will probably double just from inflating them and putting some out out front by the road, plus inflating them in the store as well, putting them on the wall inflated. It's just tubes sell like crazy with air in them, so air's free.
That whole concept of matching the products to the boats that you carry, I believe that was yours too when you said that.
I'm not remembering that one.
No?
I'm drawing a blank on that.
Okay. Your comment was about embracing the different boating lifestyles.
Oh, yeah. So if you're into fishing, it's like, I think one gift we have in the marine industry is we tie ourselves to different parts of the industry. And so if you're selling fishing boats, you have to have some fishing gear. I mean, have reasons for these guys to come in. And if you're selling, power boats, we have to have power boat accessories. And then, what makes the West Marine stay in business? I mean, they have a little bit of everything, trailer light replacements and all that stuff. So I think all those things are important. Why let West Marine have the business when now with the chance of building a loyal customer is that much harder to do? So we got to get that guy in our store. So I think that was my comment on that, is the brand and style of boat you're selling, those are, and that type of customer is doing those type of things with that boat. We need those items in our stores. And just because we need them in our store, not in West Marine. And with this map pricing that's down below here, that's a huge benefit we have where we can compete with West Marine. If they are buying deeper and getting better prices, at least in season, they can't lower their price, and we can compete with them. Same with every online store. Every online store has to run by the same rules of selling at map pricing, which map pricing stands for manufacturer allowed pricing. And so until the season is over, then they allow some discounting to go on, but it allows all of us to compete. And if you're going fairly deep with a company, usually you can make 40 margins on this stuff. And then some of the products, like tubes, they don't date. So if you're discounting your tubes at the end of the year, unless it's a dud that nobody wants, there's no reason to discount a tube, because if it's a 2014 tube or a 13 or a 15, nobody knows. It's usually, your package wakeboards and a lot of that stuff. They just don't date because people don't care. It's usually only your high-end products that people pay attention to what year it is. So I think that answers that.
Okay. Lauren, your thoughts on displaying the product? Do you have anything to add there?
So displaying the product, one thing that we did differently this year was we went back to no longer putting price tags on the products. So we use ADP Lightspeed, so we just use all barcode scanners. So two reasons that we did that is you can have one product that comes in at the beginning of the season, it's still on the shelf, and you get the same one come in at the end of the season, it can have a different price on it. It's very confusing to the customer that it's the identical bottle of wax, but one's $10, one's $15. So what we did is we went to just putting price tags on the shelves, just like the Walmarts and the West Marines. And the big thing that we started marketing this year was American made. So the boating industry, a lot of stuff is American made. All of our products that we sell are U.S. Products, majority of them. So we started putting little American flags on the shelves just to kind of feature what's American made. In our area, that's a really big thing, buy local, buy American. So we started really kind of targeting that market more so this year. And then to get people into the store is our fuel dock. We have a fuel dock, and we purposely put our parts and accessories at our main location. We're one dealership, but we have 3 different buildings within a mile radius of each other. Our highest traffic area is our fuel dock area in the summertime. So what we did is on our fuel dock, we have a stand-up paddleboard out there, and we say, come on into the store, free parking for your boat after you've fueled. We have a specific parking area for our store customers by the fuel dock. We try to get them into the store. When they're in there, we have demo days like you were mentioning, on the stand-up paddle boards. If you demo, you can demo it on your own for $45 a day, let's say. And if you buy it at the end of the day or within 3 days, you get your $45 towards the purchase of that item. Tubes, we do the same thing through our rental program. But we're just trying to really drive traffic through our most populated area, which is our fuel dock.
And then just to understand the pricing thing you mentioned earlier so that people get it, I think the reference that you gave me, I believe, was like to Costco. Like if you walk in, you see one price tag and then all the products, so they're not individually priced. You have one big price tag on the shelf for the product.
Correct.
Okay. So that way you can change out the price, to not have to run different price tapes on each one.
And like Jerry said, they don't know if you bought it in 2013, 14, or 15, and when your pricing updates, you make more money because the retail price always goes up, but it might be a little bit older product.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Anthony, any thoughts on the displays here?
No, the embrace all boating lifestyles. I think Jerry hit on that about if you sell fishing boats or whatever type of boats you sell. It doesn't have to, just because it's called a wake shop doesn't necessarily mean it's all wakeboards. There's sunglasses. There's other things that go around with the boating lifestyle to make sure you have that stuff.
You know, I'm also a big fan of accountability. I go to the frontline accountability. I think so often we're always looking for how do we drive more people in the store, and I'm always thinking about what do we do to maximize the sales of the people who are already in the store, you know? And so I go very old school. I think we get real into the technology, and it's so cool. I mean, I'm fascinated by this Disney Magic Band that I'm wearing right now because I got my family here at Disney World this whole week. Like, everything's attached to this thing. This is how I get in my room. That's your room key. That's how you charge for everything. The meal plans are already on this. If you buy a fast pass to go in the front of the line, everything is triggered to this. And it's amazing. And I think for obvious reasons, we get caught up on the newest technology and the social media and how to use Facebook to drive people in our store. And I go back to, does your frontline accessories person know what his line items per ticket number is? And the answer is usually no. They think maybe, I don't know, somewhere, I think we're like at 2 line items per ticket or something. No, do you know what your line items, you think Peyton Manning knows what his quarterback rating is right now? I'm sure of it, right? Because he treats it like a career. So I'm always looking for the manual, old school way to drive the culture into the brain of the person that, you know, we're doing all these things to create traffic and excitement, but I need you to keep score when we're selling the product. I need you to know the national average of line items per ticket is 2.3, and we're at 1.8. And what does the math tell us if we get to 2.7? Holy cow, look what your paycheck would be. I'm a big fan of scoreboards that turn red or green. Even if it's a magic marker, by the end of the day, they write on the top of the board, here's my line items per ticket today, 1.8. And the goal's 2.1, so they get to write that up there in red. And you're at 2.5, so guess which color marker you get? Green marker, and you write that up there in green. You know how that feels when you're walking out? Green marker, because you're pride, because you're number one on the list. I go back to things like that. For the service department, I'm a big fan. I'm taking a piece of paper and having 6 lines on the piece of paper and having mandatory upsells. That we had the boat in for service writer, what 3 things did you offer the customer? And service technician, what 3 things did you offer the customer? On the piece of paper, initialed next to it saying, no, customer turned it down, stapled to every RO. Watch what happens to your parts and accessories per repair order if you start running a simple manual sheet. So don't get, I love these ideas, but if we're not doing it right once the guy is in the store, if we don't have the accountability, some of it goes by the wayside. Questions on any of this last bucket that we just heard? Yeah, okay, hang on. Yeah.
I just wonder if any of you offer accessories with your boats and a package, or like the day of purchase.
You can go. No. We do. You mean like a water sports package or something? Yeah. So what we do is when we have a menu selling for our salesperson, and we also have it on the closing day, and on that menu is kind of, are you looking for a water ski package? You're looking for a wakeboard package, and it itemizes exactly what's in that package. It might be the wakeboard, the rope, and 4 life jackets to get all the sizes, and then it's just one price. I will say that it works, but a lot of people like to trade. So I bought the package, but I don't want those 4 life jackets. I want 4 different ones. So it can get a little bit touchy if you're not really physically showing them what the item is that they're purchasing.
Was the question more along the lines of a discount the day of purchase as opposed to package buying?
Oh, can you finance?
Not necessarily. It's like you've got them there selling them boat. Would you present them with some of the accessories that go with that boat at the time of sale and include it in their financing package?
Yes, definitely.
Would any of you not do that? You guys would, right? Yeah, I think that would. Okay. Okay, I think this one, I skipped it. You all told me be the product knowledge expert. You all reference that. Specialization, causing loyalty, be the expert, and then also using your OEMs to train some of that product knowledge. Why do you think the product knowledge is so important, any of you, in whatever order you want to go? Why is that so critical if you're going to compete with some of the big boys out there?
Well, we are the professionals. That's why people are coming to us to buy their boat and their fun, and we need to be the professional and understand everything about what we sell. So,
fair enough. Lauren, Jerry?
I look at it as, like you said, the professionals. I mean, if we're not the experts and we're not the ones that are physically using these products, you kind of look up to your father your whole life or look up to your grandparent your whole life. These people look up to us as the experts of knowing how to use the product. And if we don't know the product, they no longer idolize us. So you kind of have to be their idol.
Yeah, I agree. I think, a lot of the local sporting goods stores that we all compete with typically have aisle clerks. And so what we talk about to our staff is like, all right, we're not an aisle clerk here. Our customers, the people that walk in this door, they're expecting us to be experts. They want advice beyond just, this product comes in red and blue and small and medium or whatever. So part of that is, and I'm not sure we're going to get in this in another bucket, but, training your staff and making sure they know, using the manufacturers to come in and train, and making sure, because sometimes a lot of the people that help with our accessories are seasonal help, and so sometimes it's really easy to take for granted, like, well, they know everything about this product, and while we might, they don't. So it's making sure the people that do help with those customers are experts and they're living up to the expectations, and a lot of times that's what they're looking for is, hey, I've been to the sporting goods store, they didn't have a clue what they were talking about, and man, your staff gave me the whole lesson on how to use it and best product for my need and all that. So
well, and Jerry, you just glossed over the training side of things, but how often, what is the frequency of your training?
We train every Friday.
Every Friday?
So every Friday. Yep.
Sales training, experience training, product knowledge training. How do you narrow that down?
Yep, all the above. Every Friday is a different topic, and we have a person that does the training, and we have basically a ring binder. Then, one Friday might be answering the phone, and we have a phone etiquette training. And each Friday, it's just doing that, because I think what's really easy is taking it for granted that our staff knows more than they really do. So we just said every Friday, 8 a.m., you're going to be here, and And the reason we do it Friday is our staff rotates days off, but on Friday they're all there, so we do it on Friday.
I'm constantly amazed at the lack of training. It's almost like we brought this person in. Oh, we trained him. Well, did we train him? Yeah, we trained him. It was 3 months ago. He already went through his training, right? And I think about just professional sports players, NFL. They're the best 2% of the best 2% coming out of college. And they're so good that they train 5 days a week to be able to play one. Their training to playing ratio is 5 to 1. What's yours? Right? And if we're going to be the professionals, let's be the professionals. If I went up to your accessories counter guy right now and said, hey, the new GoPro 4, can you show me the setting where it takes 6 frames per second in shutter speed? Can he answer that question? Are you the professional? Are you? I mean, to say, oh, we have GoPro. Can you walk me through it? You know how complicated that is in that stupid little window? Be the professional. Okay, product knowledge questions around the room. Anything on that? I think that one's pretty obvious, and I think that maybe hit a sore spot with a lot of you guys because I think you know that we don't do it enough. We don't do the training as enough as we should. So this is my last real bucket, and this is just some oh, we did have a question right over here. Brianna's got you covered.
I was just wondering if Jerry could elaborate on your use of seasonal employees in your parts and accessories department. Or any of you, actually?
We try to hire just usually college kids, and a lot of times they're customers' kids that have been around the shop growing up, and kind of watch them, and they apply and look at who we think is going to be the best, and we hire them, and so we hire a lot of seasonal help. And when I say we train every Friday, that's not year round. That's not 52 weeks. That's usually from Memorial Day to Labor Day, and then we train before the season starts. But and one thing I didn't say is we use a lot of the factory reps in our training too. So like you said, maybe the GoPro rep is there this coming Friday, and so sometimes we do training on top of the Fridays because the reps come in at different times of the year. So any rep that you have for any product in the store, they're great resources for the training that you have. So,
any other questions?
But I think the key is finding the college kids that have a passion for the part of the industry. If you're in the fishing boat industry, find college kids that eat, sleep, and breathe fishing. Because again, you can't fake it. If you don't have the passion, you're never going to. Selling is a transfer of enthusiasm, right? So when you're like stoked about it, can't get enough that you're bucket one, how can you transfer that enthusiasm to your customer if it's not your bucket one? You can't. So we look for, we get people that apply, and, it's like, hey, I'm looking for a job. Can I work here? It's like, well, are you a boater? Do you love, well, no. I spend all my time horseback riding, and that's what I do. It's like, well, that's not going to work here. So, look for people that are deeply passionate, can't get enough, and, coming to work is a treat. And they love it. I mean, you'll see them talking to your customers, and it's they're excited. And it's awesome.
If you don't believe sales is a transfer of enthusiasm, just look at your kids. Look at how good they are at selling you. Check. You should have seen me yesterday in the Frozen sing-along line for 1 hour and 10 minutes because my kid's the best salesperson in my house. All right, let's jump into the additional ideas, and I'll let you guys just take them one at a time. I put a label on them next to whose idea came in, and I think they're really interesting. So, Lauren, I'm going to start with you with your competitor pricing sheet.
Yeah, so what we do with that is we do a lot of research online. So as we all know, when we do it ourselves, we go into a store, and we look at the price, we get out our cell phone, we scan the tag or scan the UPC code on the cell phone and see what does Amazon sell it for? What does Dick's Sporting Goods sell it for? Who has the cheapest price out there? So what we do is we do a lot of research at the beginning of the season and of the products that we have, primarily in our pro shop, but other areas too, our electronics. And we put a price tag right on the item. It says Woodard Marine retail price, Woodard Marine sale price, and right below it says Dick's Sporting Goods price, Amazon.com price. And we put exactly what their prices are with the same part number right on that tag. So there's no question of are they the best price, are they the same price. I try not to be less than them if I don't have to be, obviously. But it just takes the question out of shopping as we're a smaller store and it's a smaller community. You assume that they're just going to charge you the most money they can because they don't have a lot of population. So it just takes the question out of, is it the best price? Is this the right product for me? So now we're taking that part of it out, and now they're actually engaging with our staff and actually asking questions, not just reading price tags to find what they think is the best deal in the store.
Cool. Anthony, next one's yours, which is the dedicated brand that you've created and actually wearing the gear.
Yeah, Sam's got the shirt on. It is a separate business is the way we look at it. I mean, we have smgwake.com. It's a website that you can go buy that stuff on. And I think the shirts are a big thing that we learned several years back. Is all of us have made shirts and given them away. And we usually buy those shirts that are $2.75 a piece plus 35 cents for the screen print, and they itch and they're terrible. And people wear them once and they use them as drying rags for their motorcycles. There is a way that people will want to wear them. If you guys, the shirt that he's got on, it's about 5 times the cost of a normal shirt that you buy. But when people put them on, they continue to wear them, and they wear them a lot. And we sell them. It's a profit center for us for the shirts. We do them in hoodies and girls and different kinds. But we've kind of locally created a brand that, I dropped my son off at school, and I look at all these little kids wearing this shirt that I've never even seen before in the store. So it's caught on, and it's catchy because it's comfortable stuff. It's not the normal $2.75 T-shirt that you give away.
It's the thin, soft material. If you guys have shirts like that, you love to wear those kinds of shirts. It's really
that's what we've done with it.
Anybody else out there have a separate logo for your gear like that, like SMG Wake? Anyone? No? Okay. Jerry, you're doing lessons, complimentary lessons. You wanna walk us through that?
Yeah. The light bulb popped on this one about 7, 8 years ago, and I was standing in the store, and a customer walked in, and he had bought a new boat that year, and I said, "Hey, how you doing? How'd the boat work out this year? You guys have a great time with it?" And he's like, "Yeah, it was good. It was good." And it's like, "Oh, it's kind of reading his nonverbals, going, it doesn't seem like it was that good, And he's like, "Well, yeah, I couldn't get my son Billy up, and Susie never really figured it out either." And started realizing this guy never really got the enjoyment out of the boat he was expecting. So in one of our meetings, we said, this is our responsibility. If people are spending this kind of money with our products and they aren't walking in the store going, "Oh my gosh, this is the best money I have ever spent on my family," even better than Disney, Sam. So then it's a problem, because we need them to go on, to work going, "You guys don't have a boat? You need a boat. We bought a boat this year. It's the best thing ever. I mean, we spent more great time with our family. It was awesome. My kids learned to do this. It helped their self-esteem, on and on." And literally people go, "Okay, I get it. I need a boat." But so anyway, what we did was we made it mandatory. Some people go, "No, I really don't need my lesson." And we're like, no, you're going to have your lesson, because we know you're going to enjoy it that much more. So they get a lesson, and the amount of satisfaction that we've seen from our customers, even if they're really not into water sports, everybody's seen somebody on the water pulling their kid skiing at 30 miles an hour, and he's 7 years old. Next thing you know, he's scattered all over, and he's bawling, and he had the worst experience ever. It's like, he's done. He's not going to go again for years. That's a problem. We need that kid going, "Dad, we going out today? Like, when are we going boating next?" And so anyway, teaching them, hey, you got a little child like that, you don't have to go 30 miles an hour. You can go 12 miles an hour or whatever. And so we realized that's our problem. We need to fix that solution. And since we've done mandatory lessons, it's crazy the stories we hear. I think the satisfaction has gone through the roof. And again, it's going back to, we have one of our college kids that do our lessons. It's somebody who's very professional, very talented, great with people, and we spend some time training them. And we don't have our full-time staff out there doing it, so it's not a huge expense. But the referrals and everything off that is priceless.
Anybody out there doing complimentary lessons? Yeah, it's one person. Is it with everybody who buys a boat from you? Almost everybody. Okay, we got a question over there. Oh, hang on, we got a mic coming for you. 1 second.
I'm sorry, we just do mandatory lessons when you buy a boat.
Mandatory when you buy a boat. Right. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. What's a rough? Oh, you said something about a rough. I don't know what the hell that is. Never mind. Never mind. Okay, events to use the products. We'll start with you and roll into Anthony.
I probably already went over that with the Liquid Force events that we do with our manufacturers of our products we sell.
Okay, I got it.
Sorry, I went over it earlier.
That's okay. That's all right. Jerry, I thought you had something on that one too. No? Okay.
Nope, same.
All right, and then lastly on this list is, and then we'll open it up to you guys, any questions you have, is the personalized catalogs. Go for it, Lauren.
Sorry.
Yep.
I'm actually going to go back to the events really quick. I didn't tell you, but we do some events specifically for Pro Shop. And I know we've been talking probably a lot more about Pro Shop than parts and accessories, but our events were more of like a block party event. So we would do, we'd bring in our manufacturer reps, bring in the boat companies, and go out wakeboarding, go out surfing, come back to a block party in the parking lot, have hot dogs. And the items that were used for demo that day become a discounted price, and we do like a silent auction to sell the items and kind of make it seem like it's a really great sale, which it is a better price than you'd normally have, but it creates a sense of urgency. So that's one of the events that we do. And then on the personalized catalogs, I'd mentioned that we do Land and Sea, and Kellogg Marine is one of our vendors. And what we did is we teamed up with them, and a lot of vendors have this option that you can purchase their catalog that is for you to give to your retail customers. So it looks just like a mini West Marine catalog or a mini Cabela's catalog. On the cover, though, is customized to your dealership. So it'll have your logo, whatever you want to put for a boat on the front of it for a picture, and some blurbs about your dealership and your hours and your website. And inside of it looks identical to a Cabela's. So it'll have the picture of the item, the retail price, the sale price. And what we do is we hand those out in our fuel dock and our rental department. Every boat sale will get one. Every service will get one. And when you're buying a product from us, the bag is already pre-loaded with this catalog in it. So when you leave the store with a bag, the catalog's in it. And on the back of the catalog has a website for them, and it's a retail website for the customer to go to. So they actually are buying these products online, but you're getting credit for it as a dealer. So you don't have to physically have your own e-commerce site. You're using their site, but you're getting the income from the sale. So it's, in essence, an online store as well.
Very cool. And who's setting up who's the company that does that for you?
Ours is Land and Sea or Kellogg Marine, or the same company. But
okay. We got a question right there, Brianna.
What's your average cost for that?
It depends on how many catalogs you want to print, and also they'll do a mailing for you if you want to have it mailed. But the least expensive is 500 catalogs, and it's $499.
Have you figured that out per customer?
I haven't, actually. It's a good question.
What other questions on any of the stuff on that list? Okay. This is just my slide in here. This next one, which, there it is. Get all in or get all out. Don't dabble with it, because anybody that's excited about it, whether it's the lights or the GoPro or whatever, they want to go to the place that's got all of that stuff. So if you're going to get into it, and you've heard some good ideas about getting into it and why get into it, then get all in. If you're not, get all out, which I don't even know from this conversation if you can get all out and still survive as a small retailer.
Yeah, and I think the key is if you're not doing accessories now, you don't have to go huge. You know, like go grab one company and, you know, have some of the basics. Have some wakeboard packages, have some tubes. Everybody buys a tube. You need some life jackets. I mean, we have some guys in our 20 group that have never done accessories, and we're going, dude, you need to do accessories. You know, and they're just afraid of it. And it's like, just start out small, have every category that somebody needs to go behind the boat you have. And they did that, and all of a sudden they're like, wow, you're right. I've got to have a few knee boards and a little bit of all that. So It's not like you have to go and spend $100,000 on your first order, you know.
Now, you guys are in the same 20 club. Lauren, are you in a 20 club? Or 20 group, as you call it? Guys, I can't stress enough how important being in a 20 group peer review is. I say this every time. I don't care what group you pick, but you will cut the learning curve so much if you participate in some version of a 20 club or peer review like that. I think they're critical in the industry. Did you guys, yeah, Jerry?
I was just going to say a little bit ago, you were talking about some ideas for your staff, and Mary, who you talked to a minute ago from Action, she's been really good at coming up with contests, and that sometimes makes it fun. We'll have the item of the week, so we'll pick an item of the week that everybody's supposed to, if somebody's in the store or answers the phone, you're supposed to bring it up in your conversation. The other thing is just having contests, like you said, how many line items or what was the biggest ticket of the week. Just having contests, and you can come up with different contests, and Mary's got some really good ideas on that. And it's really helped drive the excitement just because they're paying attention who's ahead and who's not. And
people want to win.
Yeah.
People want to win. My favorite one is a $50 bill, and whoever's got the biggest sale of the day, you get a $50 bill, and you hand them the $50 bill in front of everybody. But as soon as somebody gets a bigger sale or a higher margin, whatever it happens to be, they have to go to the other person and give them the $50 bill, and so it gets passed around all day long, and by the end of the day, somebody goes home with $50. It's fun little stuff like that to keep it exciting and competitive. Any other questions for the panelists, you guys, on anything we've talked about or anything you were hoping to get that we didn't touch on? Okay.
Beyond the tubes and knee boards and wakeboards and things like that, as far as accessorizing stereos and the underlighting, and I guess I'd say jobs that are, the customer's not going to do, they're bringing them to us to do. Do you guys find that you're seeing a lot more response during the season? I'm from Wisconsin, so right now it's about 60 degrees colder there than what it is here. So our off season is now, and we try not to take a minute of water time away from those people. So I'm curious, I guess, as to when do you see a lot of those jobs coming through? When are you advertising those, and what the response is from the customers in your areas?
They're being sold with the winterizations pretty heavily right now. So that's the good part. We still see them in season, but for the most part, a lot of those jobs are being sold right now, included with the winterization.
yeah, I would agree. We're promoting that stuff in our spring and our fall promotions because in season they don't want to be without their boat. So it's perfect time, to sell add-ons at the service counter.
Anything else, you guys? Can we get a round of applause for our panelists? Jerry, Lauren, and Anthony, thank you guys very much for participating. Like I said before, I've got cards up front, or my contact information is up there. If you want to email me, I'll send this presentation to you. You're welcome to it. And I think you heard in the intro that we did Sam's Power Sports Garage, which is an online training website. We're launching Sam's Dock next year in Q1. So heads up on some of that if you're looking for some of that online sales training. And with that, I will turn it back over to Brianna.